But anyway, so this is my start. The big thing that I was able to kind of, I mean, recently do, and it was a hand time, but it was a 4-3-8 hand time. And the big thing that I think impacted that was the start, just because all the coaching that I was told when growing up, or going through as a young athlete, had everything to do with my ability to get strong, and what I'm doing in the weight room, and everything that just focused on those side of things. And I'm sure that there's some degree of understanding there, where it's like, okay, you're not strong enough. That just means you need to be lifting more. You need to go get into the weight room more. And that, to me, didn't end up working out great. So as I've gotten older now and actually gone through and tried to help people in getting their speed faster, what I've realized is the big correlation to, you do need strength, you do need power, you do need balance, you do need those things. But at the end of the day, the most important part of your actual sprinting is going to come down to your technique and your ability to actually utilize that technique, and not as much about the strength and power and things like that. So going into the start, the big thing that, what I see a lot of in, the first movement is just not enough hip extension, right? Because what we're told is a lot of times it ends up being a lot more about trying to stay down, right? Trying to keep our chest down and trying to keep our body in more of a downward position, right? And not to say that the idea is to pop up. The idea instead should really be more so to be able to get full hip extension, right? So really drive through with the hips and make sure that we're landing more on the balls of our feet and right underneath your hips. So the better that you're able to do that, and I can even do a little bit better than how I currently am, but the better I'm able to do that, the more I will actually, the more I'll be able to actually improve my top end speed, right? The better I'll be able to actually get to my top end speed. I think that ends up being the issue to me when I see guys that send me videos of themselves sprinting, is that they're not able to get to their top speed within the 40 yards, and or they just get to there maybe in the last like 10 yards, right? The last 30 to 40, where if you can get to your close to your top end speed within like the first 10 to 15, or maybe even 20 yards, that will really, really make a big difference in your ability to run fast. So, like somebody like John Ross, he was able to get to his top speed within probably the first 10 or 12 yards as he was going, just because of how well and how efficient he was in the start. So making sure that you're driving, you're getting that full hip extension, landing with the foot right underneath your hip, and keeping your heel as high up as you possibly can is critical to make sure that you're able to really maximize that sprint. Now, what I see is, that first step here, you can see for me, I'm able to get that extension. Usually guys are able to do that. Sometimes I see a bit of an issue in getting that extension with that first step, but typically, and it's even for me as well, is that second step, being able to get that really good extension. This one's not as bad. This is something where I was able to, look at it a few times, but being able to really get that full extension within this back leg makes it so now I'll be able to really maximize my sprinting capabilities, just because you want to be able to get hip extension, right? A lot of what ends up happening when it comes to your start and making sure that you're getting the most out of your start has to do with how well you're able to get into full extension with that back leg, and then rapidly drive that knee back forward and through, right? And just being able to do that as effectively as you can. You can see me on my third step here, I'm already getting pretty close to my top end speed posture. I'm obviously not there yet, but I'm very close. I'm not trying to overly stay down. I do think my chest and my body is, certainly facing more downwards than it is upwards, but I'm not, again, putting a big focus on that. And instead, what my overall thought process is, where is my foot in comparison to my hip, and how quick am I able to turn over my legs and make sure that I'm maximizing my turnover. If you guys ever have any questions too during this, just let me know. I got some guys here in the YouTube chat that I know are saying what's up guys. And so if you guys have any questions, let me know. So this is my third step in, right? And what I would do, and what I even do with my overall interpretation, is I'll go through and make sure that I'm just not spending too much time on the ground. Once it gets to like your third, fourth step, you should be at about 0.1, 0.2, or 0.1, 0.2 in terms of your contact time, right? So you can see for me, I'm touching at 27.64. So I'm off 27.77. So that's about 0.13, right? I'd want that to be closer to 0.12 or maybe even 0.11. But you know, that's not bad. 0.13 is not a bad place to be, but you want to be able to understand where you're at once you get to your third, fourth step, because that'll tell you how long it's taking you to be able to get your top end speed. Again, you can see as I'm going here, I'm getting closer and closer to the posture that I'm going to be doing when I'm sprinting. And now I'm 5, 6, 7 steps in, and you know, I'm pretty upright. I'm getting my full extension in my legs. Again, I'm able to really maximize that turnover there. And yeah, I'm just not trying to stay down just to stay down, right? If you end up feeling like that you're popping up too fast and you're not able to get really good power in your push back, then you need to stay down for a little bit longer. But that ends up being the big thing, is that, you know, the reason that you want to stay down is because, and we talked about this already, is because of the importance of getting the extension within your back leg, right? So if you feel like you're popping up too early, what will happen is, and how you know that you're not able to go through everything very, very quickly, is because your body positioning ends up impacting your ability to push off and get extension within your leg, right? So if that ends up feeling like that's an issue for you or something that's happening to you, then you know that you're standing up too tall. Okay. But if you're not, if you feel like you're able to get plenty of power and that your legs aren't cycling fast enough, right, then that means that your spine is impacting your ability to really have a great leg cycle. All right. I think that's an important thing to be able to recognize and understand, is that your ability to actually cycle the legs has a big impact on how low your spine is, and your ability to actually push off has a big impact on how high your spine is. So you want to be able to find that happy medium. And this is something that you're not going to do, you know, after watching this and being like, oh, now I got it. I figured it out, you know, all good. This is something that, you know, there's a reason why Christian Coleman, I know he's going through a lot of stuff right now, but there's a reason why Christian Coleman is still working on his start all the time. Justin Gatlin is still working on his start all the time, is because it's something that is constantly a, you know, part of your body that you need to check in on, and part of your performance that you want to check in. It's the same reason that, you know, from a business perspective, I need to constantly be checking in on how my revenue is in comparison to my expenses. You know, it's not something that it's like, oh yeah, in September of 2020, I had good revenue compared to expenses. That means in October, I don't need to check it anymore. You know, you want to continually be building your start. You want to continue to be checking up on your start. You want to be continuing to understand where you're at, where you can improve your foot contact time. Can you pick up more distance per step? Are you picking up, you know, for people that are trying to improve their 40, their combine results, can you pick up, or are you getting to seven steps in 10 yards? You know, is that something that you're actually maximizing? Are you getting to 20 steps 20 yards in 12 steps? And then what are the times there? You want to be at about 1.7 in terms of the 10 yard. You want to be at about 2.8 in terms of the 20 yard. If you're able to get to those numbers, you have a lot better chance of running the 4.5. But if you don't know, if you're not, you know, very connected to the numbers, then it becomes a lot more difficult for you to be able to really maximize your numbers and really get a great sprint. Okay. So again, and some of the things too that, or another thing that I think is important for you guys to recognize as well, and this is something that I probably didn't even do well on the start, but it is something that I've recognized and have been talking more about in my videos. But when you start here, so you can see my left foot's forward, my right hand's down. And by the way, guys, if you're watching me on YouTube and if you have anything specifically you'd want me to address, just let me know, and I'd be happy to address that. We're going deep into the start here just because that ends up being, you know, what the recommendation was at the beginning, but I want to be able to, you know, provide any type of information that will be beneficial for you. But yeah, so when we go into the start, you know, you can see that first knee bend that I go through there, that initial forward knee bend, that makes it so you can get a lot of extension out of that knee and really create a lot of force out of that leg, which is important. But the reason I really wanted to show this is because that left arm really wants to drive all the way up and through as you're coming forward. So you can see for me, I really could get more in my left arm. I took this probably about 6 or 7 weeks ago, but I can get more out of that left arm. I could really drive all the way up, all the way forward with that arm. And that really gets you set up to be able to be quick with your feet and be able to be quick with your arms, right? I would say the big thing with the start, and we talked about this before, is to be quick, is to be fast. You don't want to end up going through your start and being like, man, that was it took me a long time to be able to get out of my blocks, right? And it took me a long time to get my first 3 steps down, the first 5 steps down. There's people that talk about, trying to pick up as much distance when you start and having a big first step and blah, 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 first 3 steps, whatever. That's not really my style. My style, and everybody's going to be a little bit different. My style is to be quick, right? I want my first 3 steps to be as fast as I can, because I know that when I'm here, look at this is my 3rd step. I'm in a position where if I can get those first 3 steps down hard and very effectively and efficiently, then I'm setting myself up to be able to really maximize my top end speed and get to my top end speed very quickly, which is what the important part of the sprint is. Yeah, I mean, the big thing that I'm going over here, Cornelius, is how to have a great 40 time and, what goes into that. And really focusing on the start. I think that 90% of people's problems when it comes to their start, and the reason they're not doing good, and this is with working with a variety of different teams in the area, has to do with your ability to get out and not knowing the proper start mechanics. And so I'm trying to go over that the best that I can for you guys, so you're able to understand, what needs to be done and where you might be messing up. And real quick, I'll just go over a couple key points. 1, quickness over distance. Okay. 2, hip extension over spine position. 3, opposite arm drive to head. 4, get to top speed as soon as possible. Okay, these are big things I would think about when you're getting into your start, right? When you're getting ready to, you're in that 3-point stance, you're in this position. What am I focusing on? I'm focusing on being quick over distance. So I want my legs to be quick. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. I know this is in, slow motion, but if I'm here, you can see I'm really trying to get out of there as fast as I can, right? Boom, 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 boom. Right. And don't cheat it. Right. I see a lot of guys that will go and they'll just try to get right in this 3-point stance and then just go right and acting like that will end up working. We all know that when it comes to the 40, you have to actually pause there for a second. So I'm there for a little bit. I'm just working on, I have a little thing where I just focus on making sure that I'm getting my knee to come forward and through and dropping my hips at first and then exploding through. Right. So my first movement is a downward hip movement and then explosion all the way through with my hips the best that I can. It's like a clean type of a movement. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Olympic lift of a clean, but it's that type of a movement that we're looking to replicate and, make it so you guys are actually performing and doing in order to get out of the box quickly. And yeah, hip extension over spine position, right? And so when you're coming through, get those hips all the way through. If you're not able to get your hips all the way through, right, it doesn't feel like you're pushing off like a broad jump. That's where the broad jump is an important movement. That's why they test for it, is because it has such a big carryover to acceleration and agility. If you don't have the ability to get great broad jump capabilities, then that really tells a lot about your ability to accelerate and be agile, right? And so being able to get those hips all the way through, just like you're broad jumping all the way in that hip extension wants to be what you're doing when you're going through the start. Opposite arm drives to the head, right? So opposite arm drive all the way up to the head. And this isn't a great example. You can see I'm a little bit low with my hand, but sometimes it's good for you guys to be able to see what not to do, right? Drive that hand all the way up to at least your head. You know, Christian Coleman goes above his head. Trayvon Bromell goes above his head. Usain Bolt goes to about his head. Those guys are the best in the world, and the reason is because they're able to do that, and they're very disciplined about it. Obviously, I'm still working on it. I'm not as disciplined. And then this is probably the most important thing, is because I hear coaches and I see coaches that talk about you know, staying within your drive phase, staying in your and you know, not getting your top end speed. You get to your top speed as soon as you can, right? If your issue is that you get to 30 yards and you can't hold your top speed anymore, that's not a bad problem. That just means you need to get, you know, more core work, or you need to work more top end speed, or you need to do more of those types of things, right? It doesn't mean that you've lost your ability to, or you're not going to be able to run as fast. It doesn't mean that you got out of your start bad because you didn't finish well, right? Make sure that you're going through and you're working as hard as you can to be able to get to your top speed as fast as you can, and then hold it. If that doesn't end up working out, right? If you end up, again, getting tired at the end, 30, 35 yards, then you just need to work more of your top end speed. All right. Make sure you get all the way through there. Got a couple questions. Yep. 200 abs is fine to do. I would say make sure you do planks though. Planks are better than, you know, sit-ups or crunches or something like that. Okay, your transition is very smooth. When you do power swings, do you go heavy weight, low reps, or lighter weight, heavy reps? I do both. It depends on what type of work I'm doing. So, you know, there'll be times where I'm doing, you know, more of an endurance, where I'm going to be keeping the lights weight and working more heavy reps, or there's going to be times where I'm really trying to maximize my top speed, and for that time I'm going to be doing more of the heavy weight. I primarily, I would say, do more of like 6 to 8 reps, you know, and I'm usually working within around 200 pounds. You know, once I get into like 225 for 5, I like doing that a good amount, and just make sure that I'm keeping my power nice and efficient there. All right, I don't want to be over the top, you know, at least for me, that works. I don't want to be into like 315 or 330 for 5. I couldn't even do that if I wanted to, but you know, I try to stay with like that 225 range. It's good weight, good resistance, and also not too overly challenging where I end up feeling like I could hurt myself or anything like that. All right, I'm gonna real quick go to top end speed here just to make it so we can kind of round this whole thing out. Let me go to a different video. All right, guys. So the big thing when it comes to top end speed is just making sure that we're able to, oh, got another. Let's see. You mentioned that for the start of the 40 M. That's the same for top end speed. No, that is not the same for top end speed. That has to only do with the start. So the question was, you mentioned that for the start of the 40, you emphasized quickness over distance. Is that the same for top end speed? And the answer to that is no. Once you get to your top end speed, it's definitely, you know, more of a, for me, it's a focus on posture, right? I want to keep my body as upright as I can. And it's also on cycling. How fast can I cycle my legs? And the reason I do that is because if I can keep my posture upright in how I train my body to be power focused and plyometric focused, I know that I'll be able to push off enough to be able to cover the distance that I want to be able to cover on each one of my steps, right? I don't want to end up being I don't want to overreach as I'm doing this. But I also want to make sure that I'm cycling my legs as fast as I can, because I think that ends up being, at least for me, the biggest thing that impacts my ability to finish a race, is that I get to a point where it's hard for me to be able to continue to cycle my legs as fast as I can. And I think this ends up being a thing for a lot of people, is that you get to a point where cycling your legs becomes very, very difficult to achieve. And once that ends up happening, that really causes a negative response to your top end speed. So I have a curved treadmill. I'm sure if you guys have seen a lot of my videos, you know that when I'm sprinting, with that curved treadmill, it really builds my ability to hold my top end speed for a longer period of time. And so I just try to make sure I translate that into my sprinting when I'm on the field, when I do stuff like this. And I've just found that, that ends up being my biggest downfall, is that sometimes as I'm sprinting, I'll lose my ability to really maintain, that top end speed performance, especially, for me, running the 40 is not difficult at all. It gets closer to when I'm running the 100 meters, because I obviously, work on that too. 100 meters is a lot more difficult to be able to hold that transition time is what I call it, or leg cycle, ends up being a lot more difficult for me. So that ends up being the big thing. But notice when I'm trying to do here, so I'm trying to stay with my posture upright and my body's upright as I can, so then I can land with my legs, as straight as I can. You can see, guys like Usain Bolt just do such a great job of landing so straight with their legs that they're able to then, push off their leg a little bit sooner, right? So I'm hitting the ground. I'm probably hitting the ground at about 48:13 in terms of my time. And I'm off at about 48:25-ish, so about 0.12. If you look at it 100%, I'm down to maybe 15. I'm somewhere between 48:13 and 48:15, and then pushing off at 25. And so I'm somewhere between 0.1 and 0.12 in terms of my time spent on the ground a day. If I'm a football player, how much time should I be working out a day? It depends. It depends on what position. 5 to 7 times per week would be good to me. And in terms of that, just in case you guys are wondering, I try to work out 7 days a week at least, just to make sure that I'm able to keep building myself up. I've found that, if I take days off, and some of those days, end up just being like stretching and maintenance and stuff like that, maybe going for some easy sprints, just like 4 or 5 sprints. But the more consistency that I put into it, the better that I'm able to maintain my overall sprint performance. All right. Toby, we got you in here a little bit late, but sorry about that. The next thing that we'll go into, so the top end speed ends up being, and where you want to be at. So I'm pushing off at 48:25. You really want to be cycling your legs at about 0.34, 0.35, somewhere in there. Ends up being pretty good in terms of your leg cycle. So 48:25, cycling my leg, touching back down at 48:58. But I'm at about 0.32 here with my cycle, which ends up being okay. Whoops. I'm gonna have to put you there. And so that ends up being a important part of your ability to get that transition time as well. So for me, just watching the video, and this is why I say it's always important to watch your overall film, I would want to put more of a focus on my contact time, because my contact time was 0.1 to 0.12, which needs to get better. And instead of, really spending a lot more time in, where my transition time or time spent off the ground at 0.32 is in a pretty good spot. All right. So it just ends up being a difference of, those two that end up being a big part of all this. We're not landing flat. I want to be landing more on the balls of my feet, the best on the balls of my feet as I can. I think what you might be seeing there, Roy, is I am on a pretty, like the grass ends up absorbing some of my feet there. And so, I'm trying not to land very flat, but I might be landing, somewhat flat there. But, you end up landing, or I'm landing more on the balls of my feet. I'm definitely not landing on my, heels first or anything like that. stronger the more I practice. Depends. Yeah, don't forget to like the video for sure. That'd be awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that, Cornelius. So real quick, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to end this. Stop sharing the screen. And I'm going to real quick to show you guys the some of the stuff that we're doing with, here, let me go to my Zoom here. And I want to go to put this page up. So just to kind of to finish it out, show you guys what we're doing with the whole program. Share. So I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but the idea of the program is you're going to be able to get 12 weeks to help you in sprinting fast. I think I changed this video actually. And with that, you're going to get breakdown. I want to make it so you guys also get to get more access to this as well. So I'm going to be consistently doing videos where you can go and learn a little bit more about your top end speed and where you can get better within the 40 and make sure that you can really understand exactly what you're doing. So not only will I give you breakdowns, but I'll also make it so you have your the information to improve your speed just from from meetings like this and connecting with you guys more. The more I feel like we can connect, the more we can talk about things, the more we can really make sure that you're actually focusing on your sprinting, then the better off that you're going to be. And I want to really be able to commit as much as I can to you guys and your performance. The more that I can commit to you and the better results you guys get, the better it's going to be for me. So I'm really making sure and hoping that you guys will be able to do this. I want to make it so we're going to improve your speed. We're going to improve your start, your broad jump. We'll get videos of the broad jump and focus on that, improve your 5-10-5. You get like a nutrition program with it. I want to make it so I've been reaching out to different college services to make it so you can get more exposure to colleges if you're looking to get that. Let's see that. Here's kind of the 12-week outline. You're going to get exercise regimens 4 to 5 times a week, and now it's actually closer to 6 times a week. Different phases are going to focus on different parts of the actual sprint. We started with general speed type stuff. We go into start acceleration, then go to transition, and then the top end speed. We'll also give you some modules, some things, and I've been working on that too. And you guys are going to be really excited to see what are some of the things that I have coming in store with a online program, online resource that you guys will have access to that have different modules that will really show you more about what exactly you need to be doing in each one of these phases in order to maximize it. You have a day where you work on just your flexibility and your correctives. And we'll have a ebook and a Facebook community that we'll be able to utilize as well. And then we also have the nutrition program that we already talked about. Everything you need in here. We have a couple different testimonials, boom, boom, boom. And all of it is going to be, I saw that Cornelius, you're wondering how much it is. It's $109 for everything. You can see $109. If you guys want to get additional bands, you could do that as well. But yeah, it's $109 for 12 weeks of training. You're going to get, again, a breakdown with that. You're also going to be able to get access to all of our resources, our online resources that you need. And then again, the big thing that we're giving you guys here is going to be the 12 weeks of training, right? To get 3 months of training, breakdown, everything that you got there. It's going to be, that should be more than enough information to be able to help you guys out and make sure that you're able to really maximize your sprinting and, get to the 40-yard dash time that you're looking to get to. All right. Let me see. Thank you, Roy. I appreciate that. How much is the program? What's your bids? Throwing mechanics. I'm glad. I'm going to be all the people that are quarterbacks too. I'm first. I just got done with doing everything for quarterbacks, and so I have a quarterback university that I'm going to be talking about later today. I'm going to be posting a video about that later today, so stay tuned for that. Thoughts on Feed the Cats? Feed the Cats. I've heard about that whole Feed the Cats program. I don't know much about it. I watched only some of the video that he did, the webinar that he did. But he seems like a very smart guy, I can tell you that. And he seems like a very experienced guy. Throw the ball about 60 yards, 45 yards, that's great. And football, I started playing football when I was in 6th grade, so I've been in football for a long time. I posted the link down there too. Not very experienced, excellent program. Yeah, earlier. Yeah, Cornelius, we're going to do you do the consultations and the breakdowns for, if you're in the actual program. If you guys have any questions too, let me know. There's obviously people on YouTube that have been asking questions this whole time, and making sure that I'm following through with that. But if you guys that are on the live Zoom session, you guys could ask questions as well. I'm sure. I know Toby. I know you have got a question for me. I sent over the link. Let me see if I can. I'll add it in the comments too. You guys need access to the program. And it is too, just real quick, it is a 14-day money back guarantee. So if you go and join it for 14 days, don't like it, then we do give you a money back guarantee. All right, but I hope this stuff resonated with you. Again, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Send me a message. Follow us too if you guys haven't followed some of our programs or some of our like Facebook, Instagram, things like that. Obviously, it's a lot easier to get in touch with me through those instead of through like YouTube. But yeah, I'm going to be continuing to do these more and more and just try to give you guys as much information as I can about sprinting. So stay tuned. At least if you guys aren't getting my emails, sign up for something. Yeah, Roy, I'm going to do a video for you too for the Better Drive phase. I got your email this morning. I've just been dealing with a lot of different things. Obviously wanted to get this all set up. I've never done this whole YouTube thing. So I had to go and research how to make this happen, but definitely within the next few days, I'm going to be doing Drive phase for you to make it so you can understand how to get better. I think that's a great video topic and I'll make sure to make that happen. I played quarterback and I played receiver and I played safety in college. In case you're wondering for that, that was obviously a long time ago, but those were all the different positions that I played. All right. Again, if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, message me. I'm going to call it quits here. I got to go to a workout here, but thanks for showing up. We'll be in touch. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.